another area where Rhode Island seems to be lagging behind the rest of the country in terms of economic improvement is the development of solar technologies, at least in some areas. Mark Murphy, the editor of the Providence Business News, joins us this noon hour with some facts and figures and quotes to illustrate that. All the material is in a front page story in this week's edition of the paper, including a quote from an analyst who describes Rhode Island as a, quote, odd case when it comes to developing solar projects. What's that mean?
Well, it means that in terms of the residential solar energy and solar hot water heating, Rhode Island is well behind pretty much the rest of the country in terms of those going to homes.
All right, homes, but the other side of it is industry, and that's a different story, is it not?
Yeah, and I think that what the story points out is that during the recession, the Renewable Energy Fund sort of cut back the scope of its activities supporting renewable energy projects and really concentrated on large industrial projects. So, for instance, Torrey, got a $500,000 grant from the state in order to build a large solar array on its property down at the Quonset Business Park. One of the issues that Torrey had identified were energy costs that it was facing as to whether it would continue to invest in Rhode Island. So it was this project was part of an effort to keep Torrey here, to keep it investing, and it has then subsequently invested in some other pieces of the operation there.
Some of the numbers in your article are interesting. $1.5 million was supposedly set aside in a prior year for these kinds of projects. Only $500,000 and a little more was actually spent. And for this year, $800,000 has been allocated. Is this residential money we're talking about?
Yes, this is all residential money. And the rules, and it started last year, back in place, is you have to be one of at least three projects in a neighborhood in order to get this kind of direct grant. And in addition, when you throw in a federal renewable energy tax credit, you can get about half of the project paid for through state and federal aid. The issue for some people is, number one, making sure that you have your neighbors, you have at least two neighbors who are doing something. But number two is sort of coming up with the money up front, because they can, sort of the average cost is about $16,000. So, it's a significant investment, but you get most of it back.
There are a couple of companies included in your article involved in this area. NTech Engineering is one, Newport Solar is another. Their experiences are outlined in this article, which is in this week's edition of the Providence Business News. And Mark Murphy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Frank.